name is John Moore, and I'm Tracy's uncle. I was asked a little while back by Tracy, what is it that got me interested and not hooked in, but what brought me into the Heal Women Heal Foundation and the belief in Heal Women Heal. I've gone through this as a child, as a youngster, and when I was a teenager, and I saw things happen to my mom that just weren't right, and I knew they weren't right at the time. And if you'll excuse me, let me just show you why Heal Women Heal and that fight for domestic abuse means a lot to me. I don't know if you can see it, but this woman right here is the reason. I watched her one day get taken away in an ambulance to fix a cut over her eye that was bleeding. And it was from that point on that I thought, I can't have this kind of thing. So I made it a point that domestic violence is just not acceptable anywhere at any time. When you find yourself in a situation where you feel like striking back or striking out, stop and think. Stop and think. Because it's just not acceptable. And I pray that you can hear this and realize that it's not something to come home to. You know what's going to happen sometimes on the weekend. There's fighting and it's uncomfortable. You might be in your room and the next thing you know, there's things being thrown. So it was easy for me to understand what Tracy was going through. So I pray that you can get this and understand this, and hopefully somehow somebody it touches their heart and saying, hey, you know, I'm not going to do that. I can change. The idea that they say if you come from a family or a home where domestic violence is almost the norm, that you're going to be that way. That doesn't have to be. I had it with my stepdad in our home, and it was at that time that I made a promise to myself, I'm not going to do that. And I've kept that promise. And you can too. With the help of God, just yourself, just to yourself be true and say, this is not acceptable and I won't accept it. But I thank you for my time, and God bless you.
Pastor Paul Bradford, I have a quick question for you. Maybe you can help us out. How do you define your role as an ally for women?
Now, I would define my role as being an ally for women is, first, I got to go back to how I grew up. I grew up with 5 sisters and I was the only son. So a lot of times people will say, you know, you kind of feel what we feel, you know, and I said, well, I had sisters I grew up with. So to be an ally to them is what I found out over the years is being able to be encouraging, assisting anytime I get an opportunity to, and being there as a man to strengthen the woman, knowing that we need each other in order for us to succeed even in society. So my ally is what I say is the fact that I will be one that will assist and help and encourage and strengthen and support women.
Thank you so much.
So the question is, how do I encourage other men to become allies and advocates for women? For me, it's pretty simple. It's through dialogue, through conversations. Oftentimes I'll hear a friend or a family member, or even it can be a perfect stranger, make a comment that isn't positive, especially towards a woman in a given situation, or even towards a spouse, and having that conversation with the person, the dialogue, oftentimes helps them to understand that they need to do a better job in being an ally and advocating, especially if they've got daughters, because many times the feelings that they're experiencing are through actions they've seen, maybe with their own fathers, and really being able to explain to them that some of these negative ways of thinking can come across, especially to their daughters or their spouses, in a real demeaning way. And it can cause a lot of harm, and it can cause the daughters or spouses not to have the self-esteem that they need to get out in the world and be the best that they can be. So for me, it's just dialogue, talking, taking opportunities when I can, when I hear men struggling, because that's really what it is. It's a struggle. And just helping them to realize that it's their own fears that is getting in the way of them making good decisions when it comes to how they treat women. And I guess lastly, I would say that I really try to help them understand that we need women, because we as men sometimes have difficulties with decision making and emotions, and opening up and letting yourself get closer to your spouse or to your daughters is really going to help you as an individual to break down your own barriers when it comes to shutting women out in whatever situation it is. Just be fair. Just hear them out if you're hiring them, and don't let any fears get in your way, because strength isn't always measured in how much you can lift. It's measured in a lot of different ways. So again, my way of doing it is through conversation and dialogue, and not being afraid to have those conversations, important conversations, when I hear a person, particularly a friend, a family member, struggling.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris, and what inspired me to take an active role in empowering and uplifting women was actually due to my upbringing. I was raised around, mostly females. I did grow up with a single mother and 2 older sisters, so I grew up a lot with females, understanding, what they go through and what their struggles are. So I can really sympathize with them over that. They taught me a lot of mutual respect, resilience, staying strong, all the good qualities you would want to see in a person. So I make sure that, every day that I'm just empowering, uplifting women, I encourage others to do the same.
Greetings, my name is Andy Quinones, and I'm the Executive Director of the Southern California Service Corps. Recently, my friend Tracy from Heal Women Heal asked me, how do I define my role as an ally towards women? So I started thinking about the women in my life and the impact that they've made on me as a man. First of all, I'd like to mention my mother, Elena. You see, she wasn't always my mother. She started off as my aunt. My biological mother, Alice, passed away when I was just an infant, so her sister, Elena, decided to take me in and raise me as her own. And I tell you, I wouldn't be the man I am today without the love and support from that wonderful angel that has been a part of my life. The second woman I'd like to mention is my little baby sister, Laura. Now, Laura is a grown woman now, but as I think about our life together, we've become good friends. We're raising our children together, and we've traveled the world together. And I've done my very best to be a good brother that listens and advises in those times of need, and I honor her. The third woman I'd like to mention is my beautiful and intelligent wife, Norma. Wow, what a journey it's been, and not an easy one at that. I've truly have learned that in order to have harmony within our home and within our hearts, that we have to balance the yin and the yang. See, I know that I am fire and that she is water, and it's not always easy, but she adds such value to my life and has helped me to become a better man and a better father. I'm looking forward to the journey ahead, because we just started in life, but I honor her as an ally and I do my very best to be a good provider and a good protector. The last woman I'd like to mention is my great-grandmother Emma. She's no longer with us, but I wanted to mention her because she's the woman that introduced me to God and the love of God. She used to remind me and anyone else that she'd come across, "Mijo, don't forget that God loves you." And she truly loved God herself. She was a kind and compassionate woman, and she planted the seeds of love in my heart. So those are the women that I'd like to mention that have been an impact on my life and why I choose to be an ally towards women. And I'm doing my best to teach my sons to be good men and to also be an ally to women in their lives. Thank you.
The question I was asked, what inspired you to take an active role in supporting and empowering women? Well, first of all, who comes to mind is my wife, Tanda. She inspires me to take an active role in many of the things that she does. For example, watching her take care of her mom and then she passed away was one of the biggest roles ever that I encountered. She's also inspiring in a way that she encouraged our daughter, who was a teacher, and our two daughters-in-law, who are also professionals. She just recently became a brand new author. She decided to write a book. She wrote it within 3 months, and it was published. She also has a book club that she has ran for over 10 years. Encouraging and uplifting women is what she does and loves to do. She does all these things because of her love for God. Therefore, I will continue to encourage, empower, and support her in all that she does. Love is a powerful thing. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Shiloh Rojas, advocate of Healed Women Heal, and I just wanted to get on here to discuss what inspired me to take an active role in supporting and empowering women. I'd say it stemmed from my personal commitment. At a young age, I was able to see how strong and resilient women can be. Starting with my mom, she would wake up at an early hour of the day to take us to a nearby friend's house and get us ready for school. She'd then be out of the house for the next 12 hours, come home still and prepare dinner for us and help us complete our work and get us ready for the next day, year after year, and continue to progress the household. It was then when I got a little bit older, I would understand some of the different challenges she had been facing, whether that had been not having a male role within the household or any financial support from another parent within the household. She had been doing all of these things on her own. There were also some other challenges that I had noticed women had been going through a little bit on their own outside of the household, whether it be in the classrooms where their opinions may not have been taken as seriously as some of their male counterparts, or in the community. I grew up in the Pomona and Chino area, and numerous times I would be walking along the sidewalk and have a woman be within proximity and, as you can say, be getting catcalled by another gentleman on the street. And it's at this age, when I got a little bit older, I started to understand that not everybody views women as delicate as I grew up taught. They don't hold women to the level of integrity that they should have been held at. And it's at this age that I took it upon myself to kind of be that supporting role, whether that is communicating to another male, understanding the importance of women and having the respect for women in your life. Everybody has to depend on a female at some point in their life and understand the level of support and the level of nurture and care that comes from that. And I feel my role and my duty to make sure that is protected. So when I do see instances where that's not being emulated, it's really important that I place myself in the situation to then change that or make sure that those are aware of this. I feel like it's your duty as an ally to kind of support this and make sure people can understand this and learn this. Thank you.
How do you encourage other men to be allies and advocates for women?
Well, I can show them better. I can teach them. Do it. It should be bred in your DNA as a man to want to support, take care of your wife or your girlfriend, and be there. That's what men do.
So by leading by example.
Yes, real men already have it in their DNA to be protective and do things. You just have to have a listening ear as well. I'm still learning.